Hello, this is some information over Chapter 1 in Child Development. I wanted to make sure you understood a few of the key facts in this chapter. It's a very short chapter. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is what NAEYC is. NAEYC stands for the National Association for the Education of Young Children. And like I talked about in class, it's our national governing association. All the information that is sent down to our state level comes from the national level and then comes also to our local level. And so it's a very important group. They post a lot of policy. They push laws through. They have publications and information that help us know what we need to be doing in early childhood here in the state of Arkansas. And so make sure you read about NAEYC. It's on the first page in Chapter 1. I also want to talk to you about the different age levels of children that we're going to be discussing within this course and the other courses. We have infants, toddlers, preschoolers, and school age that we're going to be talking about within this course. And when we talk about infants, those are going to be birth to a year. And then we have toddlers that are from 1 year to 3 years, up to 3 years of age, 36 months. Then we have preschoolers that are 36 months to 5 years of age. Once they enter kindergarten, they are no longer considered preschool children. We also have kindergartners who are 5 to 6 years of age, and then we have school age from there, or primary. Beyond kindergarten is first through second grade, or first through 8, or really 5 through 8 years of age. Now, there's a smaller distinction within this group when we talk about the age between the infants and the preschoolers. When we think about those, there's a broad range there, and so we have brought in the term wobbler into this scenario. And wobblers are usually 12 to 18 months of age, and then we start with our toddlers usually around 18 to 36 months of age, up to age 3. Some facilities divide the children out by infants, wobblers, toddlers, and preschoolers, and some facilities put some of those groups together. And so knowing the distinction between those different age groups is really important, and to be able to test and know the kids that are included in those age ranges of descriptions is important. Now, within this first little chapter, it goes through and gives you a view of each of these different age groups of children. And so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that. There's a couple of paragraphs on each of these age groups. I want you to be able to just know and understand that an infant is from birth. And when we think about infancy, those are the ones that we have to do everything for them. We have to provide all the care, all the information, all the nutrition for this child. And this is also the first true learning for this child. We have to learn how they cry, the message they're trying to send to us, how we talk to them, how we interact, the social emotional interactions are all very important in this infant stage. We're going to be talking a lot more about all of this throughout this course. Now, the second part, they don't really talk about wobblers so much. That was something I wanted to include here because we do that here in Arkansas, is the toddler stage. The toddlers are like those terrible twos. They're a fun little group. We're still going from nonverbal to verbal during this stage. The reason a lot of times the twos are called the terrible twos is because of lack of communication skills. They just don't have the words yet. So some of the things that they do that some people think of are negative behaviors, with hitting, pushing, biting, pinching other children, is because this is really normal behaviors for them for short periods of time because they lack those verbal skills and language skills. And so we're going to be talking about those and how we can increase those throughout those toddler years. And then we move on to the preschool age children. Preschoolers' language is progressing at a huge rate. By the time they're 3 to 5 years of age, they have a very, very large vocabulary. And the more words they know, the better communication they're going to have with the other children in the classroom and with you to let you know what their needs are and how they get along with others. This is where we're going to be really working on cognitive learning. Back in the toddler years, we're working on social emotional. That is the most important thing that we teach them, is how to work and interact with others in their classroom. With the preschoolers, they should know how to work and interact and how to play with others. They still have small little squabbles and infractions that happen along the way, which is normal for them because they're not quite all there yet. They've only been here 3 3 years. And so we can't really expect them to act as an adult because they're not adults. They're children. And they're still learning. And so that we have to repeat ourselves over and over and over. One of the things that Dr. Becky Bailey tells us with children is a child has to hear something 2,000 times in order to make a memory from that information. And so just think about it. It takes us about 6 weeks to make or break a habit. Being intentional about doing that. When I think about these little children, they're still learning about everything, and so they have to hear something. So really, when you think about 2,000 days is not that really long. In your mind, you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's a long period of time. But when we say something 3 times a day over the course of 9 months or during a school year, okay, usually from August to May, that's about the time it takes for a child to learn. And a lot of times we may not see the accolades of our work during the school year that we have them in, but the next teacher will. And so everything we do in our classrooms is to help them in their child development, to help them in their cognitive, communication, social, emotional, aesthetic, which is arts and creativity, and to also help them in their cognitive development. I say cognitive, social, emotional, physical development. That's the one it is. And so those are the different forms of development we're going to be talking about. Cognitive, social emotional, motor skills, fine and large motor, aesthetics, arts and creativity, and communication. A lot of times communication is combined with cognitive development. I like to talk about it as a separate entity because I think it's very, very important. And so those are some of the things I wanted you to pick up and I wanted you to learn and to know about and pay attention to in this chapter. Now they go into the school-age children also. They talk about the 5-year-olds and the 6 or 8-year-olds. Being able to just read those little scenarios in the chapter is really important. And then it talks about our role. We are to teach, we are to facilitate, we are to guide the children in the loving way, most loving way as we can. But we also have to be a disciplinarian during this time and to guide them in their behaviors. As we know, children don't always do what they're supposed to. We don't either. And we need to help guide them and teach them what the rules are in the classroom, what they should and should not do. In an appropriate manner that is safe for the children. And one of the words and terminology that we use when we talk about the ages and stages that we do these different things with kids is DAP, Developmentally Appropriate Practices. Developmentally Appropriate Practices is a term that is used when we talk about ages and stages of development, making sure that whatever activities we do in the classroom is age appropriate for those specific children that are in that classroom. A perfect example would be you wouldn't want to give a 30-piece puzzle to a 2-year-old. It'd be too hard. You also wouldn't want to give a 4-piece puzzle to a 5-year-old. It'd be too easy if they're typically or normally developing. Now, if a child has a disability, that's a whole nother aspect, and you have to fit the materials to the children and their age and their ability level. That's what DAP is all about, and that's going to be on the last page in your Chapter 1. That's Chapter 1 summary, really short, really quick. I wanted to keep this video under 10 minutes. And so as you're studying, pay attention to what I've talked about within this chapter, and you will do really well when it comes time for the test. If you have questions, please let me know, and I'll be glad to work with you. You have a nice day, and don't forget to watch Chapter 2's video. Thanks.